Turn on the summary, and we'll start with a brief healing ourselves and healing the earth meditation. And then we'll move on to the subject of tonight, which is quite exciting for me. It's about spiritual seeking or stopping doing it. But that follows on the coming attraction. So if you'd like just to take a couple of deep breaths and close your eyes and relax. We imagine a beautiful golden white light descending upon us from the heavens. It feels soft, warm, and gentle as we breathe it in. It fills our whole body with this beautiful essence, and we are filled with the love of Source. We know we are connected and we are powerful, creative beings. We see that the light has now joined us together as a group. So there are no individuals, just one heavenly light. We are the group. We are one. We see planet Earth in front of us. She is beautiful, yet strong and resilient. We feel immense love for her. We are aware of a heartbeat, strong and deep within. We feel connected to the beat, and it seems to call to us. It's as though our own hearts have joined with hers, and we are in peaceful harmony with the planet. She is waiting for us. As one, we extend the light out from the group heart center and surround the dear planet in the beautiful, loving light. She draws close as the light pulsates strongly from the group consciousness, gently offering healing to her and all beings. We now see the planet and the group vibrating with the light, which has been called forth through group intention, capacity to love, gentleness, and knowing. The light becomes so bright now that it's difficult to discern the planet from the exquisite light. The light grows bigger and bigger until all that can be seen in the mind's eye is light. There is nothing else. We hold this light and feel its peace. We feel the love and the healing that we too are receiving. A feeling from which is difficult to depart. It is a minuscule taste of the love that's always been, a love that's never left, a love that waits patiently for our return. We feel immense gratitude now. The love we give is being returned in ways we cannot imagine, in amounts we can never understand. We cannot know who will accept what is offered today, but it can never be lost. It stands forevermore as a beacon for all those who seek solace, and it will shine as a beacon until all are home. We continue to watch a little while, knowing this cannot fail, for we are powerful creatures, powerful creators. We are one with the source. We are the light. And so the healing is complete. Gently let yourself return to the room. Does anyone want to briefly share from that meditation? Judith.
Um, yeah, I just found myself once we were all in position and just sharing our love, um, of just wanting to tone just from the heart,
Mm.
which I've been finding I'm doing more and more recently. And then it turned into the tune of Can't Help Falling in Love. um, yeah, it was just really lovely. I did some toning with someone the other day who was having trouble with sorrow in their heart. And I said it kind of just like took it away. So,
You were toning, were you?
hmm,
Oh,
so
sounds intriguing. What,
yeah.
what does it sound like, Judith? Put,
No,
put,
don't do
don't put me
it.
on the spot, please. Don't put me. No, it's purely voluntary. Just got my curiosity going.
Just whatever. Yeah, whatever comes, with depending on the intent. It's different sounds, different tones.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. If you ever feel called to do it, let us know. I mean, we'd love to hear it.
Or maybe we could do it all together.
Oh, now you're putting us all on the spot.
Like I I imagine it would probably be like someone starts with a tone and everyone else sort of tunes in. Is that sort of how you do it?
It doesn't work well on YouTube, on Zoom. It distorts.
Okay.
Oh,
Bummer.
Unless we all just turn, and if unless we all just turn our mics off and tone together with the intent.
Ah, yeah. I'd still need to hear someone though, I reckon, to give you a pointer. But anyway, okay, cool. Was just an idea.
okay. Well, Bjorn dematerialized. I don't know if that was the healing. He, he went into the light, and that was the end of him, actually.
God.
Oh, he was a good guy. Okay, so the subject tonight is the end of seeking, and that's been a particular interest to me. I remember sometimes when I come out of sleep, I get a line of wisdom comes into my head. And the other night, I nodded off in front of the TV, came to, and there was this line: the the greatest percentage of your life, you've been a seeker. That's what it said. And certainly in the last few years, I've seen the trap of seeking. Now, I don't know anyone who's been interested in the spiritual path who's not started out as a seeker. They get an idea, there's something other in the world and sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and they start seeking. They go to workshops, they pick up books, and off they go. Maybe the only person I know who woke up who didn't do that was Ramana Maharshi. He had a spontaneous awakening when he was about 15. He thought he was dying. He had a big wake up experience. He lost all interest in conventional things, stole a little money from his parents, and took a train ride to Arunachala, the holy mountain in India, and never left it. He didn't speak for 12 years. He just hung out in a cave. But apart from him, uh, everyone starts by seeking. And of course, it can be very valuable. You discover like Course in Miracles or good teachers. But of course, it's also very enjoyable. You've got all these courses to go on, all these books to read, maybe travel to India and find the holy man or Tibet, have a very spiritual relationship with someone, on and on it goes. Um, but at some point, one has to stop seeking, otherwise, you're on the path all the time. And guidance I used to get from my friend in New Zealand, it said that once. It says, You're on a path, but you need to stop to receive. But that brings the fear, and so you hurriedly get back on the path again. You've got a purpose, you're a seeker, you're moving towards a goal. Let's see what the Course has to say about this. You do not have to seek reality. It will seek you and find you when you meet its conditions. So it's not a question of seeking reality, but setting up the conditions for it to just dawn on you. That line in the Course, the memory of God returns to the quiet mind. Well, with the memory of God also comes to the memory of who you are, the son, the daughter of God. And there's no time or space in heaven. The ego made that up so it could experience separation. So what things can only change in time if you think about it. It's this one moment and it changes to that the next. So who we really are, the Christ, can't be changed. It's already perfect. We're already completely and utterly perfect. So we have to meet its conditions, which is peace through forgiveness. Once the mind is quiet enough, it dawns upon us. So really, we've got to stop seeking and start forgiving, dropping judgment against ourselves, dropping judgment against others. What Judith was saying about accepting, all of this starts to quieten the mind. And at some point, you meet its conditions and you start waking up. But to the ego, it's much more fun to be chasing enlightenment, another technique, another guru, another travel. If I do enough things, I'll get it. The Course says the journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. It's a journey without distance to a goal that's never changed. There is actually no journey. You're already there. You just don't know it because you prefer doing something else. Truth can only be experienced. It cannot be described and it cannot be explained. Remember that line in the Course? We say God is, and then we cease to speak. Mind you, there's been many books written about what God is. I can make you aware of the conditions of truth, but the experience is of God. Together we can meet its conditions, but truth will dawn upon you of itself. So we don't have to find truth. We don't have to discover truth. We don't have to chase truth. We just got to meet its conditions. A quiet mind, and in this case, Course in Miracles, brought about by dropping judgment, by forgiveness, by acceptance. And it's such a huge point because in part of our mind we think, if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll be there. Well, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is forgiveness, dropping judgment, acceptance, yes. The Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So the Course is sometimes described as a negative path, not bad, but it undoes the force. It's not a positive path like pursuing love. It's an undoing blocks path. And so with miracles, miracles don't do anything, they undo. Miracles are a correction. Some ancient Zen master said, do not seek the truth, simply cease cherishing illusions. And once we mentioned before, love or awakening waits on welcome, not on time. If at this very moment we could drop all desire for all the things the earth has to offer, and open our arms to what's beyond it, we'd awake. There's a couple of lessons back to back. Um, the world I see holds nothing that I want. The next lesson, beyond this world, there is a world I want. And it's putting faces. Bummer, isn't it? I mean, we came here to experience this world. Um, and now it's saying the world I see holds nothing that I want. Beyond it is the world I want. However, we use the world as a classroom, and it's a great classroom of acceptance, forgiveness. And then it slowly dawned on us that we have everything we want inside, the uncaused happiness. We're a lot of people looking for caused happiness. If I have the right partner, enough money, if I have health, if people like me, if I'm accepted, if I travel the world, if I print enough books, if I'm the best Course in Miracle teacher around, I'll be happy. Well, you will for a moment. Remember that old phrase? There's only one thing worse than not getting what you want, and that's getting it. Because while you're trying to get it, you think the happiness is in the future. It's like they say the happiness of youth lies not in what they do, what they hope to do. I could have the wonderful partner, the great job, I'll see the world. And what if they do all that and they're still not happy? That's a bummer. And that ties in with the section in the text. The roads go nowhere here. But you must walk one because it's your forgiveness path. But it goes on to warn that some on seeing this have died. They've committed suicide. They've tried the path. They've spent their life struggling to be the head of their firm. They make it. They sit behind their big desk. They've got 4 telephones and 3 secretaries, and still they're not happy. So why we still like to hunt for the things of the earth, then it keeps us here until finally we say, the world I see holds nothing that I want. Then we're ready to be taught. Then we're ready to wake up. The angels hear it all and say, ah, there's one. There's one who's ready. Let's gather around. I think Jesus, through Tina Spalding, once said that we see people like that suddenly light up like a pinpoint of light, and we're drawn to them. Like, ah, they can be taught now. The course again, why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. The light is in them now. Enlightenment is but a recognition, not a change at all. Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. They're already full of light, as still as God created. It's a question of looking within and recognizing it. But you can only do that with a quiet mind. Back to forgiveness. So this is the trap of the spiritual seeker. There's nothing to seek, but everything to accept. And seeking reinforces the separate illusory I that wants to be enlightened. I sometimes use that analogy of a caterpillar, which starts to hear as it grows up that it can actually fly. It looks at its body like a worm with 100 legs. How can I fly? But wise old caterpillars, talk about this will happen one day, you'll fly. And finally, that caterpillar reconciles it all and it sees it knows what's going to happen. It's going to grow a pair of wings. I'll be a flying caterpillar. That's what it'd be like. To know it's going to become a butterfly, it's got to die and become a butterfly would scare the life out of it. So it doesn't want to think about that. It's like we often think about when we get enlightenment, something will be added. Say, something will be added to Michael. Michael now has enlightenment. But actually, Michael disappears in enlightenment. His personality is still there, but the sense of Michael, the individual, is gone. I haven't added something to myself. I've destroyed myself. But what's taken its place is so wonderful. And because the personality is still there, one may not notice. It, of course, talks about the enlightened as they have a serene forehead and they smile more often. Only a small percentage of the enlightened actually teach. So you could have enlightened people close to you and you wouldn't know. They just seem to be quiet, smiling, not upset by things. Might be a bit boring, really. Not very exciting to be around. Go and find someone who's got more stimulus in them. There's that line in the course in the Bible, see God and die. You know, who you think you are dies. And that's what holds back so many people from waking up. I'm going, I'm going. The caterpillar turns into a butterfly. So most of us have to burn out the seeker. I think that's what's been happening to me in the last few years because I'm very old now. So I'm burning out the seeker. I'm more happy to quietly walk around, sit on benches, look at the sea, drink cups of tea, read an inspiring book, chat to a nice friend or two. And when you're interested in this stuff, you don't have many friends, except on Zoom, where all the weirdos can collect together. Back to the course. Oh, here's the nice one from the Tao Te Ching. In pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the practice of the Tao, the way, every day something is dropped. So when you're a seeker, you are accumulating knowledge after knowledge. As I mentioned, by the age of 35, I had 1,500 spiritual books. Can you imagine what a nutcase I was? Talk about accumulating knowledge. So the way forward now is to drop something every day. I had a very nice channeling from my friend Anna the other day from Jesus saying, I need now to step into the unknown, to surrender into the unknown. Surrender Michael, father, Englishman, teacher, all of that's got to go. And then just drop into the unknown. Take quiet moments. And little bits of that is happening to me. And I find little bits of joy when I do it. So I'm being encouraged. Going to the lake, staring at the lake and upsetting other people, well, that's their problem. Um, Boy, it sounds simple, doesn't it? Fall into the unknown. Let go all the concepts you hold of yourself, the good, the bad, the indifferent. Become a nobody. Move from a somebody to a nobody. Then you can be filled up with who you really are, or awaken to who you really are.
Just on that, Michael, before we
Sorry?
go on, just on that, I get the principle. I'm just not sure how to go about making a living whilst doing that. Or is
Oh,
that the or is that the story I'm telling myself?
yeah, it sounds like a story. Because it sounds like maybe you've got to go and be a hermit in a cave or somewhere and hide from the world. Um, but it does encourage, periods of quiet. I was told to go and sit on my deck here, just gaze at the trees, which I do in the morning with a cup of tea. And I go and do some work and I go for a walk. It's like there are always these spaces, or you could, if you have to go to work, get up an hour earlier and go to bed an hour earlier. So you got an hour in the morning. Instead of hanging out, this happened to me at work, I can imagine. Instead of hanging out with all the boys and men at lunchtime, I would go away. I was doing it then, like 40 years ago. There's always those times. And then you may not want to watch TV, but just be quiet, sit on the deck. So you can do both. Andrea, you're muted.
I like to share something because don't know what happened. So for me, it feels, I think, since some weeks, um, that I'm um, in this at this place, and it is really scaring to accept the unknown because it is unknown. And what you are talking about, Judith, is in my mind constantly, but it's only the ego that's trying to holding me back. It's yesterday yesterday I attended a movie workshop with David Hoffmeister, and he said clearly, there is one point you have to decide, will I stay in the world or will I accept the true world? And you can't imagine how um, how hard the ego tries to hold you back, to not take the step into the unknown. And there are the thoughts, so from what will you live and where will you live and, but these are only thoughts, and it becomes more and more clear it's only an illusion. So what I see, it's a projection of the ego, and the ego will do everything not to allow you to take the next step, and it will scare you as hard as you can. And that's what will hold you back, the scarcity and this fear.
Good, good. You may not know because you're more later to this group, but 50 years ago, I suppose it was, I was guided to leave my career teaching electronics, well paid, 4 months holiday a year. People hanging on my every word. The year before this happened, I bought a very cheap house, and so I didn't have need for a great deal of money. I just wanted to explore healing and peace, and so for 4 years, I just worked a few hours a week as a supply teacher, and that was enough to pay the way. And then I was guided to Findhorn, and then I found the house I bought had gone up 3 times in price. So because you have to pay your way for a few years, and I took my partner with me, so that worked. And in the last 50 years, I've never had a proper job. Never worked 9 to 5 or had a pension. Um, and then I got a legacy. And then I had 2 wives that had money and they bought the house. And now I'm living in this sort of millionaire's row looking out at the sea here, given the house by my wife's mother. And I've invested in precious metals, which are doing very well. So the last 50 years, I've been looked after amazingly and not without a job. And what I felt was I used that phrase for the Castaneda books, follow the path with a heart, and you're looked after. So all I can say is it works. But I understand the fear, and the ego will try and stop you because if you keep going this way, you'll let the ego go, and it wants to live. But if you have some trust in the universe and follow the heart, um, we have many lives. So if it doesn't work out and you die young, oh, that's all right. Come back and have another one. Take a risk. So that's my little sharing.
Something came to mind there as well. Um, I'm not sure which one of you said this, but I think the ego tries to, or like imagines that once we sort of give up the concepts or the ideas of who we are, that we just sort of start doing nothing. Like you're literally just sitting at home and you're, I don't know, not engaged, you're not going to work. But from my experience so far, because there has been sort of a shift occurring for me in the last couple weeks where a lot sort of has fallen away quite quite abruptly, sort of. And there is much more quiet and there is much more clarity. And it's just sort of like what it, again, just speaking from my experience, I'm not claiming to be awake, but just sort of what I've noticed personally is that I'm just starting to move through life from a different space, a different sort of awareness. And it's much quieter and there is less sort of attachment to how things should be or how I should be or how other people should be. And I'm still engaging and I'm still doing things, but from a different sort of awareness, from a different sort of, it's really difficult to explain, but it's like I'm still there, but it's, I don't know, a shift in identity or how I relate to myself and the world around me. Like it's not actually like life stops being, it's just like the approach to it is just so different. Um, so it's not like you stop to exist. And I could imagine like right now, I know I don't have a job, but I imagine, like I still have engagements and there are things I have to go to, and I still do all these things, but there's sort of like a more of a detachment or more of a spaciousness, more of like an awareness, a sort of beingness more, or like rather than a reactiveness or sort of real attachment to what's happening. Um, but I'm still taking part and I still feel engaged. It's just much calmer and much more easeful and peaceful. So that's my experience.
Oh, that was beautiful to hear, Adam.
Thank you.
And English is Anna's second language, so God knows how she speaks so well. No, it's a beautiful description and a lot of
Um,
movement.
mm,
Oh, nice to hear.
Because I remember reading about this from Adyashanti. He was sharing this, like, there will come a time when you have to let go of concepts and your ideas and beliefs and, like your thoughts. And I was like, but how? Like, how do you still function in the world? But you just sort of do. You just, again, it's so hard to grasp till it actually sort of happens. Um, but you just, I don't know. It like it goes on. Um, I think I'll leave it at this
Okay,
right now. I could try and go on, but I hand the mic back to you, Michael.
okay. Would you say you've become more peaceful in the last 2 weeks?
Most definitely.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
that's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Um,
Well, when I was 27, I was building up more and more concepts and more books. So well done.
Thank you.
I'm only up to 700 books by then. Another 10
Mm,
years before I got to 1,500. Um,
yeah.
the wise young people are coming into the world. Lovely to hear.
Mm, thank you. Mm.
Actually, I put a few quotes in a little diagram together once, and I'll just dig that out now. Let's have a picture, shall we? Okay. Share. Can you see that?
Yes.
Good. Last time we couldn't see what I put up. Let's move this out of the way. So we're talking about seeking and the seeker's trap. So up here we've got people seeking. And, I know if I look hard enough, I will find inner peace. Keep reading, keep consuming the workshops. But they're running along a line here. Underneath here is what they're unaware of. because in the unconscious, already existing is what they're looking for. They're up here running for it, looking for it in the world, but this natural state of peace and joy is here. It's like a bubble in the water, but it's hitting this wall. It can't come up into awareness. So this wall is the self-created barriers of judgments, ego identification and restlessness. And this restless activity is blocking the awakening. The very search for peace and joy is blocking the peace and joy. Because it's a nervous thing, it's an active energy, it's an ego-driven. Before you were searching for money and power and prestige, and then you take the same energy and you say, well, that didn't work. I'm now going to work really, really hard to seek for peace. And that's when the wall is formed. The Course says, no, don't seek for peace, just seek for the obstacles to peace. And they're around you all day long in your classroom of forgiveness. All the things you won't accept, the judgment of yourself, the judgment of others, that gap between what is and what should be that's running all the time. That's the wall. And we had this quote before, and this one too, about not seeking for love. And God knows the way to you. Oh no, this one's new. Is it not He, God, who knows the way to you? You need not know the way to Him. Your part is simply to allow all obstacles that you have interposed between the Son and God the Father to be quietly removed forever. God will do His part in joyful and immediate response. Ask and receive. But do not make demands, nor point the road to God by which He should appear to you. The way to reach Him is to merely let Him be. Let Him come into your quiet mind. Just relax, become a nobody, let go, drop the judgments, settle down, open the door, and the truth arrives. As simple and as hard as that. I'll read you a couple of quotes, I think, from people who've woken up. This is from Amber Tyrrell in her book, Surprised by Grace. This is the irony, the great cosmic joke, the great secret of quotes enlightenment. When the person who searches for enlightenment dissolves, then and only then is the object of the search revealed, having been obscured all along by that me in quotes who wanted it. The discovery that personal enlightenment is a myth can be received as quite a shock. This is where I have enlightenment stuck on me as an appendage. From my own experience, I can verify that the mind and personality does not happily embrace the discovery when it is first glimpsed, for it makes one look somewhat ridiculous. All the searching, all the practicing, all the trying to get it is seen as worthless, is seen as having perpetuated the illusion of me who's become enlightened, obscuring what was already here. While all this striving and practicing is occurring in one's own limitless self. Rumi, once you forget yourself, God remembers you. Once you become His slave, then you are free. Jack Caulfield, he's written a few spiritual books, a meditator. He has the interesting observations. While I benefited enormously from the training offered in the Thai and Burmese monasteries where I practice, I noticed two striking things. First, there were major areas of difficulty in my life, such as loneliness, intimate relationships, work, childhood wounds, and patterns of fear that even very deep meditation didn't touch. Second, amongst the several dozen Western monks and a lot of Asian meditators I met during my time in Asia, with a few notable exceptions, most were not helped by meditation in big areas of their lives. Many were deeply wounded, neurotic, frightened, and grieving, and often used spiritual practice to hide and avoid problematic parts of themselves. I remember Adyashanti, who was a very keen meditator, spending hours a day devoting his holidays to monasteries where he kept on staring at walls. And he observed around him for 15 years meditators. And I remember he said once, the success rate of waking up through meditation is, quotes, horrendously low, unquote. Now, it's not that you don't get some benefits from meditation. But for quite a few people, the benefits are only during the meditation. Once they leave the meditation and confront the world again, problems begin. And of course, there are a few meditations in the workbook, but that's not his emphasis. Leo Lozowitz. When I began my teaching work, people were having phenomenal experiences. This is the spiritual teacher. But things weren't changing their habits, their neurosis. It became clear that if people didn't work with their psychology, no matter how devoted and sincere they were effectively blocked at a certain stage. If we don't efficiently deal with our psychology, we can forget spiritual work. Not that we can't have experiences, but we always come down from them. And that is the course, dealing with our psychology. What's our psychology? We've got victimhood, we've got justified anger, we don't accept, we judge, we can't forgive. That's what the course wants us to deal with. And along the way, you'll have the odd spiritual experience, and for some, many. But those who have in through perhaps a lot of meditation, a big experience, they fell soon after, because waiting for them was all the unhealed psychology. Eckhart Tolle. All cravings are the mind seeking salvation or fulfillment in external things, and in the future, as a substitute for the joy of being. In that state, even my desire to become free or enlightenment is just another craving for fulfillment or completion in the future. So don't seek to become free of desire or achieve enlightenment. Become present. Be there as the observer of the mind. And you look at one of the definitions of forgiveness. Forgiveness is still and quietly does nothing. It merely looks and waits and judges not. That's the observer. It looks, it waits, it's not in a hurry to wake up, and judges not. Heart of forgiveness. Another great teacher, Nisargadatta. Don't look for quick results. There may be none within your noticing. I know to you your psyche will undergo a change. Someone's gone. Someone's changed. I'll say that again. Unknown to you, your psyche will undergo a change. There will be more clarity in your thinking and feeling, purity in your behavior. You need not aim at these. You will see the witness. You will witness the change all the same. Oh, I just remember Anita said she'd have to leave just before 6, 7, I mean. So there's a very interesting one, because as we're achievement orientated, we're looking for quick results. Look, I've put in 10 hours of meditation this week. Surely something should have happened. I've gone from meat to vegetarian and now I'm vegan. Sure, that will speed things up. I now have 2 crystals under my pillow every night, so surely that should have an effect. Unknown to you, your psyche will undergo a change. When you don't require anything from the world and nothing from God, when you don't desire anything, when you don't strive for anything, don't expect anything, the divine will enter you, unasked and unexpected. The wish for truth is the best of all wishes, but it's still a wish. All wishes must be given up, that the truth can enter your life. Nothing extraordinary can happen to a consciousness knowing exactly what it wants. Because you may have a cast iron description of what enlightenment looks like. What if it's not that? The ones I read about, they're all surprised at what it is. They never thought it was going to be that. There was a 14th century mystic, a woman, Lala. I exhausted myself looking. No one ever finds this by trying. I melted in and came home, where every jar is full, but no one drinks. Awareness cleaned my mind to a polished mirroring. The presence came near. I knew that was everything, and I nothing. Do not strive for spirituality. If you do, you'll block it. It will be prevented from coming into your life. That is the most difficult thing for most people to learn. Not to get in their own way. It's already yours. It has always been so. Relax, be still, and you'll see what I mean. It has never left you. Your mind, with all its endless demands, has taken you away from that clarity. There's a bit of repetition here, but I think we need to hear it. Do you want a couple more? A nod up there. This is from a book called Halfway Up the Mountain, The Era of Premature Claims to Enlightenment. It was examining people who sort of woken up, become teachers, and then lost it. And they still carry on being teachers or pretending they're awakened, you know. That's when you find they start taking money and sleeping with the pupils and a few other things creeping. And everyone explains it away. Well, it's all good for me. He's awake, so he needs to sleep with me because then I'll wake up quicker, you know. And I have given him all my money, but that's because I need to be poor. He knows that. He really knows that, you know. Come on, people, come on. But then again, you can also argue they need to go through that experience to learn it so they don't become as gullible again. No one's there by accident. But when you see your friends going into it, years ago when I was living in England, and there's a guy that put on my workshops, and he'd heard of the master teacher. This was a guy in Wisconsin, America, who was a Course in Miracles teacher, and he ran a cult. And he'd sort of talk in paragraphs. He never had a sentence, and he had his own language. And when you became one of the students, you spoke like him. And some of them would write to me, and I write back and say, I didn't quite understand. Could you say this in more plain English? And they said, oh, well, we thought you were sort of awake, and why can't you understand what we're saying? Because the awake could understand what we're babbling on about, you know. I never went down very well with those people. Anyway, from her book, one is more likely to awaken through surrender than through seeking to awaken. The effort to awaken is the effort of the ego, whereas to surrender is to give up all efforts and to place oneself in the hands of a vast force that is more powerful than any realization of non-duality. When one finally gives up one's futile attempts to make reality conform to one's own wishes and allows it to unfold on its own terms, all the energy that was tied up in the foolish attempts to manipulate the universe is freed up. Bernadette Roberts, she was a woman who wrote 3 books about the no self, the path to no self. Very interesting woman. She was a nun early on in her life and had an awakening. And then she joined the householder's life and about 4 children, I think. And she went very deep and she described her days like, well, I got up, I had 4 children to get off to school. And so I had to make all their lunches and everything and get their clothes off and send them off. Then quite often I would just sit down and perhaps be like that for the rest of the day, looking at the trees or a very short walk. And then I knew they were coming again. So I get up and I put the food on and prepare, and they come through the door and I ask them about their day, and feed them, and then they go to bed, and then I stop and just sit and be. So if Andrew were here, I could say, look, you can do both. She said the unique aspect of the unifying process, the oneness, is that it does not come about through our own effort or self-control, through anything we do. At this stage, all our interior activities and strivings are but disguised efforts to regain the reins of personal control and return to our former ways of behavior. Our part is to remain passive to the inner silence and trust it. The trust is so imperative at this time that I'd say the speed with which unification is completed is proportionate to the degree of passivity.
Who was that said that?
Bernadette Roberts, in her book, The Path to No Self. You have to give up for it to come. You have to give up control. You have to let God in and let Him run the scene. There's that line in the Course, you do not know the way to God, but God knows the way to you. Any questions, sharings? Anybody want to give up their ego? I saw that, Judith. Bjorna, do you want to say something? Oh, you want to give up your ego. Okay, can we watch? Can you do it now? We want to see how it's done. Okay.
Yeah, no, but what you're saying now, it resonates with me. Many of these things. I was away here now, and I will listen to the recording here. It sounds good. But this to surrender and not focus too much on I'm spiritual, but just to be, accept, respect myself, and self-love. Yeah.
I think Gina's Tutina says you may have someone in your village who's very quiet. You have no idea they're enlightened. And you go through your whole life with this guy in the village, because he doesn't go around saying, I've woken up, I'm enlightened, I can do this, and he's not one of the small percentage that teach. They don't shout. There's
I met one person.
Yeah?
Sorry.
No, carry on.
I met one person yesterday. It's a woman, and she is spiritual. And she asked me, "How spiritual are you?" From a scale from 0 to 100%. Yeah.
I hope no one ever
It's a strange question, and I cannot answer it. I just do what this feels right, and
I love it. Perhaps we should have a test that only people above 50 are allowed to join this mighty network group. Oh, I love this one. Years and years ago, I came across a book called Light on the Path. It's thousands of years old. It was written on palm leaves. It's sort of lost in history, but it's an amazing book. Grow as the flower grows, unconsciously, but eagerly anxious to open its soul to the air. So must you press forward to open your soul to the eternal. But it must be the eternal that draws forth your strength and beauty, not desire of growth. For in the one case you develop in luxuriance of purity, in the other you harden by the forcible passion for personal stature. That was written 10,000 years ago or something. Maybe lastly, from St. John of the Cross, he was born in 1542. He's sometimes looked upon as the mystic's mystic. And he had a lot of disciples around him. And he said, I am appalled at what happens in these days. Namely, when some soul with a penny's worth of meditation experience, if it be conscious of certain voices of this kind in some state of recollection, at once christens them all as coming from God. This happens very commonly, and many persons are greatly deceived by it, by thinking they've attained a high degree of prayer and are in direct link from God. And he actually lists, this is very interesting, beginner's faults. Okay, do you want to dare hear these? Motivation for the journey is not union with God, but for spiritual highs and gratifications. 2, vanity, boasting of spiritual attainments. I'm 90%, you know. You'd never guessed it, but I am. Want to instruct rather than be instructed. Critical of other aspirants on the path. Who they think they are to be ahead. Sad when other aspirants progress ahead of them. We used to envy the guy at work who got the job ahead of us. Now it's the one who's more spiritually evolved. Act most holy and want to be recognized as such. This can't be right. Greed for books, maxims, pictures, and holy objects. Sure, that's wrong. Strong attraction to spiritual persons and leaders. Getting upset if not receiving spiritual consolation. And all this meditation, nothing's happened. Angry over other sins as well as their own. Want to be saints in a day. Overdo spiritual practices and neglect duties. Caught in the trap of my will be done instead of letting God's will be done through them. Believing they know the best way to God. Now that was 600 years ago. Nothing's changed, has it? And we can carry on chatting, or we could do a short forgiveness exercise. What would you like to do?
Personally, I always like an exercise, but I'm happy to go with the flow.
Doesn't seem to be much of a flow at the moment.
Oh, I have actually now recently made an appointment. So now 10 past, quarter past, I will
Gotta
say
go.
my here.
Okay, nice to meet you, Bjorn.
I will actually go to the church today. I've never been there for 50 years almost.
Bjorn, you're going to get 10% up on the scale for going today.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe 2% up the scale.
Have fun.
Have fun. Say
I
hi
think
to
I said
God.
no.
Say hi to God for me, will you?
Yes, yes. If I meet him, I will.
Good.
Thanks.
And what's your choice, to chat or exercise?
I was actually thinking about sharing something.
Oh, please, sharing is important.
Um, so because it just keeps coming up today, I thought I might share this. I got this pointer the other day, from someone I've been working with, and it goes something like this. You know the statement "I am," and she was saying to me, like, sit with that statement, like "I am" or "I am everything," and then let go of the words. Sit in that without names, without ideas, without words. What remains? If you you strip everything away, but you just sort of sit in that feeling, with that sensation of like, I am, or I am everything. And you just sort of take all the rest out and just feel and sense into it. And I've been doing that a fair bit, and it's really quite um, amazing, sort of like just the shift that happens. And it's like I would really just encourage maybe both of you to try it and see for yourselves. But um, I feel like obviously you're still operating in the world and you're still reacting to people. You still have things to do, but it just sort of happens from a different sort of space within. Like Michael was saying earlier, you kind of sort of become more of an observer, sort of a watcher. Um, and that's really interesting. It's very simple, but I find it quite powerful actually. And I sort of just wanted to share with that because it just kept popping up. Um,
Yeah.
mm,
It's a good reminder. Yeah, I've done it before, and it's amazing how quickly you can drop
mm,
into that. Hey, but I guess it's
mm,
taking away the agenda. But just as you were saying
yeah,
it, just did it even with the eyes open. You can just feel that.
right.
Mm.
Um, she was also saying, and I found this really helpful, like what is aware to the conversation that we're having right now? Like, is there something you can pick up on, like a sense, like what is aware to this conversation? Like you see something, you hear something, it's very like stimulating in that sense, but what's aware to that? And just sort of feel and sense into that. I feel like obviously I haven't been on the path as long as Michael for obvious reasons, but there has
Good,
been
that's good.
but obviously there is a lot also, the concept, the seeking, like I read the book, I have this concept, I have this idea of what it might be like, what I should do. Um, and I've just been sort of getting this pointer, like there comes a time when you just sort of feel and sense into it. Like you can't really think yourself any further into awakening. Like there comes a time when you just sit and sense and feel and practice that presence. Um, and it's very simple, but I think it does require vigilance, as Michael always says, and how Jesus always says, like in the beginning, you do need vigilance. Like, where am I attaching again? Where am I identifying again? Where am I leaving my observer seat? And I'm just really pouncing, pouncing on life.
Mm.
Um, hmm,
Yeah, well, you're echoing where I've moved a bit to recently, and drawn to quite strongly at times. All this could be traced back really to Ramana Maharshi. That was his
mm,
one of his main teaching was self-inquiry. Um, who are these thoughts happening to? Who is I?
mm,
And one of his disciples, which I've been rereading recently, Robert Adams.
mm,
He uses the I am meditation with breath. You breathe in on the I and you breathe out on the am. And you can do that walking. And sometimes I've been doing that.
mm.
And that can lead to what am I?
Yeah.
Um, and so, no, it sounds wonderful, Anna. And
Mm,
it's drawing me at the moment. And it's not that much
mm,
divorce from forgiveness. If you use that definition I mentioned earlier, forgiveness is still and quietly does nothing. It merely looks and waits,
mm.
um, and observes,
Yeah.
just the watcher, you see.
Yeah.
And then you're in a space of the I am. I'm not this, I'm not that, just I am. And that was always pushed by Ramana and by Robert. I There's the danger. I sent you that audio of people don't realize where it's really taking you.
Mm,
Or something that's going to add on to you is going to be the dissolving of who you think you are. And that frightens people, so they will sometimes stop with the practice. But if you're
mm,
willing to go into the unknown, then it
mm,
can be a fast path, I think.
mm. I have a question. Um, I just want to ask because I know we only have 15 minutes left. Judith, do you really want, like, would you rather do an exercise at this point
No, no,
or
no,
you
no,
happy?
no,
Okay.
that's right. We don't forgive us till we're blue in the face anyway, have
Perhaps we could add another colour. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you. What, one moment. Mm, so you were saying earlier about something about, I think we sort of have expectations at a certain point around like what it should, what awakening should be like, or what sort of like what should happen, all of these sorts of things. And I would, I have to share, or like I would like to share a little, because I feel like a little bit almost like hung up in that space at the moment. It's like there is like an openness, there is a quiet and a peace in my days. And I'm sort of at this point where like I know I haven't had like a full-blown sort of awakening yet, but it's almost like, so there's peace, there's quiet, there's sort of like in no matter what happens, like I watch it, I observe it, but I'm almost like, but what else is there? Like what comes next? Like how, like what's this supposed to be like? I thought at this point there would be, like with that quiet, I don't know, like something just blows friggin' open and you're like, oh my God, I'm awake. And like I don't know. But it's just really quiet and it's just really lovely. And I'm like, I'm genuine, like I'm just a bit like stuck here. Like
Okay.
like
Well,
what's supposed to happen? Like how is this supposed, like
I think you
it,
said earlier this change has happened particularly in the last 2 weeks.
yeah.
Well, I think you're doing pretty well so far in 2 weeks.
I know. It's just a natural curiosity.
I know. Yeah, I know.
You know?
Well, if you turn to the course, it'll say what the purpose of the course is. Something like, the peace of God is my one goal, the aim of all my living here, my purpose and my function in my life, while I abide where I'm not at home. Now, let's take the
Mm,
first three words, peace of God,
yeah.
not peace as a human,
Yeah.
not peace that, oh, life's got more peaceful. How nice. The peace of
Yeah.
God. What the hell's that about? That sounds pretty big.
Yeah.
Then you have the other phrase that goes with it, to achieve the peace that passeth understanding. Now you've got this peace growing, which is lovely, but you understand it. You say, oh, I'm more
Yeah.
peaceful in the situation I used to
Yeah.
live. But this is a peace that passes all understanding. So if that helps, that's coming down the line. I can't promise when, but
That's
it's
fine.
big. It's big.
Yeah.
And we say God is, and then we cease to speak.
Mm,
Now, the Back Gap program, Rick
mm,
Archer, he used to do it as interviews with awakened people. And then after a while, he changed it to interviews with awakening people.
mm,
It's ongoing. When you talk to the one who's really sort of woken up, they say, oh, this is not the end. It
mm.
keeps deepening. Um, no, I do feel this oneness with all things, but it's deepening. And the expression of it in the world
Yeah.
occurs more and more like Jesus. They got to the stage after several lives. He said, someone on the live stream the other day said, just, how can I be like you, Jesus? He said, well, I had several lives meditating. I had several lives where I was causing problems with my family and with religion, by the way. Well, I had several lives. I mean, we're talking a long period of time here. And then I was
Mm,
ready in this life where I could come out and be willing to be crucified, and it didn't matter. I didn't feel any pain anyway. I learned how to take my consciousness out. I
mm.
mean, that's where it's going. So congratulations on the 2 weeks, but there's a very long path ahead that gets more. There's another one in the teacher's manual. where it talks about the path ahead, and its visions go. It says, like grander and grander visions of this path, but they will all
Mm,
end when time ends. And beyond that, I cannot speak.
mm,
So it's huge. And what it is, we don't know. We can only guess. We can't describe. And we just have to surrender to it all and just let it unfold, week at a time, life at a time.
like
It
that's sort of
doesn't
what
nec-
yeah.
I was going to say, it doesn't necessarily have to take a long, 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 long time. But I guess it's just not waiting for it and go because
You can have it
it's
now.
already
You
there,
can have it
isn't it?
this
And just
second.
experiencing it in greater awareness, I guess.
Yeah, the speed is up to us. We could have a deep awakening now. But look what we've
Mm,
left to let go. Such sacrifice. And Jesus, he talked about lives doing meditating, lives upsetting the village, lives doing the. I mean, that's 1,000 years just in what he was talking about to get to the level of Jesus. And now he's far beyond
mm,
what he was 2,000 years ago.
sure.
He says he's like spiritually in charge of the Earth's evolution. And then,
Mm,
Ananda, the spiritual guide that comes through Tina, has said once, we, this group, we're 2,000 beings speaking as one voice, and you can't understand it. It's so way beyond you. But we tell you there are beings above us that we cannot understand.
mm.
So that's there too, Anna. One day you'll be at
Y-
that level.
Yeah, that's totally cool. But I know that's way off.
But
Like I know that will take some time before I'm, at like an ender level, but I just have to admit there is like a growing just this growing curiosity. Like what like my mind is just sort of just right now trying to sort of understand, I guess, awakening or what it would be like, not even on a level of Jesus, but I mean there are other people, like I mean Ajaz sort of started, somewhere and that was already different beyond ego to some extent. And it's just like it's almost like what's waiting? It's just so difficult to comprehend
well,
because it's
not
like
in a way, yes, in a way, no. If you stick with the course, the answer is very simple. You will experience more and more peace.
yeah.
That's it. The peace of God is my one goal until you reach the peace that passeth understanding. So you're feeling much better now, but that's nothing to where you're going. The peace will just deepen.
Hmm.
And someone will point a gun at your head, a bit like what's that woman who has an exercise series, Byron Katie. That happened to her once in the street. Somebody
Hmm.
come and put gun to her head, and she said to herself, "Oh, this is the way it ends."
Hmm.
Now there's a degree of peace.
Hmm.
I think that's the simplest answer.
Hmm.
Doesn't sound very exciting, I suppose, more and more peace.
No, it's not about that. It's not about that. Um, but it's difficult to describe. Um, hmm. I might need to leave it there. I'm not really sure how to describe exactly sort of like I guess what I mean. Um, hmm. It will unfold. That's okay.
Would you say curiosity is a big part of it?
Yeah, for sure. Um, hmm. Just because it's not about maintaining one and the same state. it's not about just being happy all the time. It's not about being just sort of like one way all the time. But yet it's almost like something is shifting, but it's not even limited to just a certain state. It's so difficult to describe. It's
Something lacking?
sort of where it's moving to. It's almost like a part of me is like um no, it's not really that something's lacking either. Um, but it's almost just like living from a different sort of space, but it's not a state that always stays the same.
More of an
It's
identity behind this.
yeah, but then obviously you're sort of letting go of all identity in a way, so it's just sort of I'm a bit lost.
Yeah, the awareness rather than the identity of this, you're saying.
You
The
know,
the I am, the
yeah.
me.
Again, it's sort of difficult for me to describe right now. Maybe I can I can give you more in a month.
Well, it's quite new what's been happening to you in the last 2 weeks, isn't it?
Mm, yeah, yeah.
So that's another thing. When things are new, what is this thing?
You know, how is it moving? Like where how, and like what is it moving into now? You know, like that level, I guess, of curiosity comes, and it's like almost like what where am I expect to live now? Or like what is supposed to happen now? Like it's peaceful and it's quiet, and I watch, I observe. Hmm.
It feels to me like, and quite understandable, that the ego likes to be in control.
Mm.
Hmm.
The ego wants certainty and knowledge, a bit of what's happening next, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the thing we're being told over and over again to let go of,
Mm.
to
Yeah.
move into a don't know space. Um, what was that thing I read? I think that was very pertinent to
Mm.
that. Just give you a couple of lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Bernadette Roberts. The unique aspect to the unifying process is that it does not come about through our own effort or self-control, through anything we do. At this stage, all our interior activities and strivings are but disguised efforts to regain the reins of personal control and return to our former ways of behaving.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like the ego's just trying a different way in.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting out here. Well, let's try.
Hmm.
I, I don't want
Yeah,
to lose all control into a complete
yeah.
question mark.
Because that's what it feels like. I'm heading into a complete question mark here, and I'm but like, surely I need to sort of know something, like, you know?
Nothing. That's what they say, nothing. It's like you now move into the trust phase that this has been good. Can I trust not to know what's going to happen next? Otherwise,
Mm.
you'll start blocking what's going to happen next.
Sorry, Michael, can you repeat that? I would like to write that down.
What the
Can I
hell?
can I trust?
Can I trust the process of what is
Yeah.
happening?
Hmm.
Can I not know what's coming next?
Yeah.
Can I let go of control of this process? Otherwise, it will block what's happening next.
Yeah.
It's letting go into the unknown,
More
which
and more and
all
more.
healthy, respecting egos hate. They want to be in
Sure.
control, even of the spiritual path. Okay, I've done 1 and 2 on the spiritual path. What's 3? So I can recognize it when it happens.
Ooh, I have to admit, that feels icky.
Good.
Yeah.
And if you can recognize it, it may not be the real thing because
Yeah.
these things are unknown. You know, the
Can
people who do deep
recognize it.
wakings thought, I never thought it would be this.
Yeah.
I never thought it would be this. Or they're embarrassed. My God, this was here all the time. And I never saw it because I was thinking it had to be this way. I
Yeah.
should be able to see auras at least by now.
That's sort of, I think, a little bit what it is. It's like sort of like something should be happening. Like some like, you know?
Yeah, you should be moving from 20% spiritual to 30% spiritual.
Uh,
I should start reading minds about now. I should be able to heal people with a glance. Auras should be coming up, visions, ecstasies.
there's expectation that something would happen. I don't know what, but something should happen.
Or let you give me the advice of the St. John of the Cross, the mystic of mystics. He said
Mm.
he had observed 2 paths to awaken him, the dry path and the ecstatic path.
Hmm.
Now, his friend, Saint Teresa of Avila, she was on the ecstatic path. She had all sorts of things. She could levitate. She sees signs, angels come and
Mm.
visit. He had zero, none of it. He was
Yeah.
on the dry path.
That'd be my luck.
And he became the mystic of mystics.
Hmm.
He didn't get the spiritual goodies that he actually said in the list, one of the faults. I'm not getting
Mm.
consolations, they used to call. I'm not getting the spiritual goodies. And then there's the two
Mm.
types of awakening. We'll finish on this. Um, and add your comments on it in Niscadata. The ones we know of are the ones we read about because they're so startling. I was walking along there and then this light appeared and I saw everything. That gets in the books. They're the
Mm.
ecstatic paths, you see. But what
Mm.
about the ones that are going up in these steps, the gradual path?
Mm.
And it's not so big, but they arrive there. And Niscadata says something very interesting. He says, I meet these people and they don't know they're awake because
Mm.
they've got there in little jumps. And he
Yeah.
said, these are the best types with regard to awakening because they don't fall back.
Hmm.
It's gained in small flashes and increments. And I have to tell them they're awake.
I know you want to hop off and have dinner, but you said something before. If you can recognize it, you said something about that, and I didn't quite understand. If you
Yeah,
recognize,
there's a danger that if you recognize it, then you've made up some step in your mind of what the next spiritual advancement is,
ah,
because you're in control of your spiritual path. So you recognize it and you say, oh, that's the next path. But it may just be a psychic phenomenon. Even
mm,
Hitler had his own group of psychics around him to help him plan the war.
seriously?
Psychic and spirituality are two different things. Just because you have psychic abilities doesn't mean you're spiritual.
Mm,
You can misuse them. And he had a team
sure.
of them, you know? No, spiritual is becoming more peaceful.
Yeah.
That's the criteria of the course. The peace of
Mm,
God is my one goal, my purpose that I'm here. And
mm,
that's the purpose of the course, of course. And with peace, the mind becomes quiet and the awareness of God and who you are dawns upon you. So if you want any sign, then that's a true one. You're becoming more and more peaceful
mm.
and less disturbs you in the world until you get a point where you go to the doctors and say, sorry, you have a virulent cancer. You should be dead in a month. Oh, thank you, doctor. It just gives me time to walk and enjoy life. I get a little holiday in between, thanks for the news. Then you know you're on the path. And when
Yeah.
nothing in this world upsets you, then you know you're
Mm,
far on the path.
yeah. Wow. Mm.
Good place to stop. It's only,
Yeah,
two,
feels
it's
good.
only 2 guests left. All falling away like flies.
Yes.
They just, there you go.
Mm.
Anyway, it's been a nice session. Yeah,
Mm.
great subject.
Yeah.
One that I'm
Thank
very,
you very much.
my pleasure. And I loved your sharing at the beginning, Anna. That was beautiful to hear.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, beautiful.
I'll keep you updated.
Please, you better. Okay, any final burning shares?
Thanks for a lovely workshop and good seeing you,
And
Judith.
you. Nice seeing your smile as well. Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
good. Nice seeing you, Judith. Okay. Don't forget to accept those people around you, Judith. Okay. I'll get off before she attacks me. Right. See you in the next meeting.
Mwah.
Not like this, not
Good
like
night.
this.
See you.